So anyway, it was really actually pretty easy to remove all of these frets, all of these frets. I wanted to do that because I wanted to sand the whole thing to get these ridges off of these grooves or slots. So I did that, and then I came back with my little Dremel tool sands Dremel motor and cleared out and probably widened these grooves just a little bit because the new frets are bigger everywhere, including the little part that stashes down in here. And I had moisturized the wood before I put these in, when I put the frets in the freezer. I moisturized the wood to keep it from chipping right around where this groove is. I got a little tiny chip here because I didn't moisturize, well, I don't know if it's really because of it, but I didn't really moisturize these. I was so anxious to do something, so I'm not going to do anything else, but I'm going to moisturize this. And then, of course, later heat the wood up before I put the new frets in, which I have not made yet. Guess I could have used that to figure it out, but and then on the new frets, by the way, I'm contouring this little end here inwards so that it doesn't butt up against this decorative plastic or purfling or whatever it is. So I want to make sure it's clear to go all the way down in there, so I don't want that little piece there interfering, so I file it off. I go over here. You see what I mean? So it goes down like that and doesn't go straight down, so it's got a little bit of clearance right at the end to keep it from hitting this piece of plastic that might be going in there. The wood might not be cut all the way down there. And I still have to get the bottom part of this thing smoothed out too. So it's not burred, even though there are these little teeth, protrusions that need to be there, but they don't need to interfere with my putting this thing in. This would be nice to have the ends smooth and contoured the way you want it before installing the thing. But you will have the option later. Let's just see out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity. It sort of kind of works. I think I'll continue putting the fret in the freezer first though. Because I gotta make damn sure these things are all even. The only way to do that really is to make sure they're all pounded in there exactly the same, which is to say all the way up to their yeah, it looks good, but I'm still going to freeze the next one. So anyway, I'm on the roll. I don't want to turn the video off. I can edit it later. Alright, so I'm back upstairs with an update. I've installed almost all of the frets. But of course there were difficulties. Difficulty being one of these frets is missing at the moment, and it's because a couple of these grooves were actually too big. So like the ones down here, the ones down here, you know, I had to hammer them in pretty strongly with a hammer. This one I tried to hammer it in, it kept popping back out again. Come to find out the groove wasn't big enough. So I'm thinking, okay, now do I shim it or what should I do? So I ended up taking a chance, of course, the whole thing's a big chance, and then I epoxied it in place. Which was a chance, because then this fret that's missing right here, also the groove was too loose, so I haven't done anything with that yet. So this is epoxied in place. Then I put some strings on here out of curiosity. This one fret now is too high. I didn't want to put it in too low because that was the problem I had with the groove being too large. So now I'm kind of stuck with, I can't really see, so I'm kind of stuck with having to file this down Probably I should buy appropriate fret file for this thing, which I looked up online. It'd be pretty sad if I only have to do one because the fret files are fairly expensive. I think the cheapest one I saw was $45, all the way up to $145. So, I mean, I'm not spending $145. That's where I'm at right now. And then I'm going to have to epoxy this one in there. And again, I can't make it too low because there's nothing I can do once I put it in there, especially if I epoxy the damn thing in there. So I'll probably deal with that a little bit. Hopefully when I epoxy it in, I can get some level to make sure it's the same height as all the rest of them, which they all seem to be pretty close. There were one or two that were kind of high, and I've sort of checked for buzzing, and it's really not that bad right at the moment. It might need a couple fine adjustments, but also because these frets are so much higher, I did have to pull this nut loose. I was kind of afraid of that, but I took a real sharp X-Acto knife and went around the edges of it to make sure it wasn't somehow or another lacquered in place or something like that. And then I was able to basically put an X-Acto knife under here and get it started, and then put a little screwdriver and just it popped right out of there. It's no big deal. I was hoping that would be the case because I've taken nuts off of guitars before and there really was no big deal. So that was no big deal. I shimmed it up. That should be an appropriate height, I believe. All I have to do is figure out how I'm going to file this down, and then I have to epoxy the other one in here, which I've damaged, so I have to create a new one, but that's no big deal, so I'm getting pretty good at that. And then my complete wrecking of a $500 mandolin should be complete. I'll get back to you and let you know.